Okay, problem 34. Order of operations. I'll remind you that it may help you to first thing list your order of operations up above. Order of operations, you're going to do what's inside parentheses first, then you'll do exponents, you'll do multiplying and dividing. And again, these are equally important, so we write them above and below each other. I like putting in the arrow to remind you you do them from left to right. And then adding and subtracting, again, equally important to each other. You do those from left to right. So problem 34. You want to do operations inside parentheses first. So on this problem, it would be this part, the 5/6 minus 5/8. In order to add and subtract fractions, you need a common denominator. 6 and 8, the common denominator will be 24. So I'm going to multiply the 6 times 4. I'm going to multiply the 5 times 4. So that is going to become 20 24ths. The 8, I will have to multiply it by 3. So I multiply its numerator times 3. It's going to become minus 24ths. It is going to be 15 24ths. 20 24ths minus 15 24ths. I hope you guys can just sort of see that that is going to be 20 minus 15, which will make it 5 24ths. Bring down the rest of the problem. There's a times sign. Then I would have my 1/5 squared. And then the division sign, 3/5, and plus 2/3. Okay, so order of operations. Parentheses are done. Exponents next. Remember, this means an exponent means you have two of these being multiplied together. So this is 1/5 times 1/5. 1 times 1 will be 1. 5 times 5 is 25. So that is how our exponent is going to work out. And it's going to be times 5 24ths. Bring down my division sign. Just recopy the problem so that you can look at it again and see what operations you have. Okay, you're finished with parentheses. You're finished with exponents. You want to do multiplying and dividing from left to right. First thing, you don't really divide with fractions. Let's make this into multiplying. So this becomes 3/5 times 25 over 1. You multiply by the reciprocal. Times 5 24ths does not change. It is only the one that you were dividing by, the 1/25th, that becomes the reciprocal. And now bring down the 2/3, just so that we don't lose it. You have three numbers being multiplied. Remember, you can multiply in any order. Also means that you can reduce with any sort of combination, so long as it's one number above with one number below. So 5 and 25 can both be divided by 5. This 5 becomes a 1 when you divide it by 5. 25 divided by 5 becomes a 5. 3 and 24, even though they're far apart, it's one number in the numerator, one number in the denominator. They both can be divided by 3. Divide them both by 3. The 3 becomes a 1. The 24 becomes an 8. Now multiply all three fractions. You have 1. And the only rule we have is to multiply numerators times numerators, denominators times denominators. So we have 1 times 5 times 5. That's 5 times 5. That will be 25. And then in the denominator, we have 1 times 1 times 8. 1 times 1 is 1 times 8 is going to be 8. So all of the multiplying and dividing came out to be just 25/8. So now I have 2/3 plus 25/8. And again, to add and subtract fractions, we need a common denominator. So it's going to be, for 3 and 8, it's going to be 24ths. So I'm going to multiply this times 8, multiply the top times 8. This is 16 24ths. The 8 I'm going to have to multiply by 3 to make it 24. Multiply the top times 3. that's going to be 75/24. So it's 16/24 plus 75/24. You could put it over one denominator, but in ways I would hope you guys would recognize that that is just adding because they're both positive. You want to add 16 plus 75. I would urge you to do your work off to the side just to avoid silly mistakes by trying to do it in your head. 5 plus 6 is 11. Put down a 1, carry a 1. 7 plus 1 plus 1 would be 9. So our answer is 91 91/24. That is an acceptable answer. If you wanted to change it into a mixed number, I would urge you to do the extra work off to the side of saying, how many times does 24 go into 91? 4 times 24 would be a 16 plus an 80. It would be 96. That's too much. We could go 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Put down a 2, carry a 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 1, 72. Subtract 2 from 1, you'd have to borrow. This will become an 8. This makes this 11. 2 from 11 is 9. 7 from 8 is 19. Your remainder is smaller than what you're dividing by, so that is perfectly acceptable. That's exactly what you want. Put your remainder over what you're dividing by, and that's what it is as a mixed number. It went 3 whole times, 19 pieces left over, so it is 3 19/24. Those are your answers.